Okay, a quick recording I want to do because I just thought of this example of wisdom to share with you before I forget it. The question will come up to you, right? In God's sort of nature, why He does what He does when it comes to religion, how He always would send you prophets and messengers. Yes, they're supernatural, and some of them have supernatural abilities, things they can do. But technically, why, right? Would God always get them to have a mission where the way they try to attract human beings, right, to understand God willfully and willfully and in free will, worship and obey God, right, and choose good and not evil. Why do they always, in order to do that, right, in order to achieve that mission, that goal, right, with human beings, why do they always have this quality where God created them to come to you and use logic with you? Why are they using the mind? Why are they using reasoning and logic? You get me? To basically prove anything they tell you. Why don't they just come down with power and prove to you that they're special or something? Just from power. They come down and they're like some angel. They just have some big, powerful, supernatural ability. They do something like that, something supernatural. And then you guys all sort of say, oh my God, you really are special. You're unique. You're a powerful creation. You're not like, okay. So we'll just submit to whatever you say. What do you want us to do? Why doesn't God like that? Why doesn't He just give them so much power like angels to just come down and simply use the fact that, right, that power is in them to prove to you they're from God, and then you guys just obey whatever they tell you to do? This is evidence that God is logical. And again, anyone can say yes to that and still misconstrue what that means. No, the type of logical that you and I think of, the one that things have to make sense on a long-term basis, right? Okay, God created this earth, this time, this species or world, mankind, in a way that time passes. That human is going to die, right? Now, how are you going to connect with God again? How are you going to understand His laws again? When evil comes, entering religion, right? The devil possesses bad people and he corrupts God's scriptures. Just so you know, humans don't corrupt scripture. Demons do. Humans don't have the power to do that. Only a demon has that power from God. And they're therefore, corrupting scriptures like the Qur'an, the Bible, and chasing and running after prophets and persecuting them. Since prophets are supernatural, you don't have the strength as a regular male to persecute him. Demons who have supernatural abilities are just possessing you. You're an empty shell to them. You're like a suit they put on, and they can run after and bother that person. Okay, you get me? Since they died, and now that power God could have given them, which a lot of humans like to say, especially the ones in human history, they always used to say, oh, if you're from God, then do a miracle. Prophet Salih, I forgot what his name would be in English, but there's a prophet called Salih in Islam, and they told him to bring a she-camel out of nowhere by just simply, telling or asking God to do it. And God actually, in order to prove this is His prophet, He did that miracle for them where a she-camel came out, like that. Sometimes God would do miracles like that. And other human beings would not even see crazy, even despite that. They will still not obey God and follow Him. Whatever this man is telling them about God, despite the miracle. You get me? So sometimes God allows you to experience what it looks like if He was to do whatever those thoughts in your mind say, whether they're from you and your natural curiosity, or whether it's actually from the demon inspiring that, and maybe you could care less. Such as the thoughts that say, why doesn't God Himself just show Himself? Why doesn't maybe He just use creations, whether they're human or other species, to come down, and the way they try to prove to us they're from God? Why don't they have power? You get me? Like some cool big power. Why don't they split the ocean for us? What, like that? You all think that's the best way that you would believe whatever they tell you, correct? That's not true. Because that power is not going to last long enough. Either that living being that was sent to you, right? Obviously, they have a time limit. They're going to die. The next generations after you, where is their evidence that this is what God told this person to teach you and that this is His book? How do you guys maintain this? You get me? If you were one time, you were just one generation alive in one time, maybe then who cares, right? It depends. That's still not going to be God's way. That He's still going to use logic to get you to, worship Him and to see right from wrong. It's never going to be forced, and it's never going to be through things that are sort of divine and supernatural, because that's not how it's best for you. Okay, you get me? So let's say you just all live in one time. We're not a species that is here for billions of years. Even still, that's not the best way for them to worship God and understand and obey His laws. You know why? Because then they're just submitting to it. They're just, yay, you did some cool miracle. Okay, we'll just worship whatever. We'll just follow whatever you tell us to do, and we'll worship the God you tell us to worship. Is that really free will? You get me? Is that really the type of free will you and I would say is the best? Where we truly have agreed ourselves to do something because we want to do it. We've seen the good in it. We've seen the logic and the truth in it. That sort of miracle just forced us, right? We didn't use our mind. Okay, so then what does that prove, since God doesn't do that? Because even if He was to have allowed prophets to have miracles done, by them, and God is the one doing it through them, right? They're just praying to God, and then God does something miraculous, it's not the prophet. You get me? Even when God did do that, then that's not going to get you to say then a counter argument to me that then what I'm saying doesn't make sense, as if God already did that or something. No. God allows many ways for you to believe in Him. You get me? But that's not the first way. The miracles was not the first way. The first way was the prophet explain things to you like I do on my podcast. They teach you. They help you understand using wisdom, not just knowledge, wisdom, right? They use, therefore, what? Logic with you. And what are you going to use in order to then agree or understand them? Logic. If you disagree, you're not being logical. You get me? You're going against your conscience to use your mind. Okay, so since that's the actual way, whether those prophets use miracles or not, and that's the way you and I, who don't have someone who could do miracles, we can use our mind to find God, and that's the way I am being, right, used by God to teach you the same things they taught you, right? I just at a lower level because I don't know everything yet, right? I'm still being taught things. I'm kind of going through the same thing where prophets went through that usually Islam knows, like Prophet Jesus or Muhammad, where they don't come down with everything all at once. Their life was used as an example for you. Their life was used as a way to teach them slowly over time through the persecution, right? God's laws and His ways. And then that's why people like to always record their stories in history, like the hadith. Hadith means narrations about the Prophet's life, right? Okay, the devil just corrupted it. You get me? Like if I died today and one day you have stories about me, well, that's dangerous. I died. I'm not here to confirm anything. So that's why you're not supposed to write about whoever God chooses to help you spiritually. Let them go and just follow the good in Scripture and take the bad out, because devils are out there. They will corrupt it at some point. And agree and admit to the fact that that is a possibility, and that has already happened, and it's not a possibility anymore because there's evil in your religions. And that's it. Honor your Creator that way. Honor yourselves that way. Don't obsess with the person He sent you, except just simply what role they served. Because you obviously want to honor them too, but simply remembering the good that God used them to do. Okay, but that's it. Stop talking about their personal extra experiences in life that obviously, one, you don't have the right to talk about because you could be lying about them without knowing. Two, some of them are personal. It's none of your business, like who they married. Three, these areas about these types of people who died, obviously, like these prophets, who obviously were male, is obviously evil. So it's obviously then false because these were righteous people. So you have more reasons why you shouldn't follow their stories, because it's obviously corrupted in the sense that there's evil being said about them. So that proves it's corruption, because these things are evil. God is not going to tell you to do evil. Therefore, if evil is being promoted in His name, it's not from Him. It's corruption. Two, you would already agree with me, even though you don't know those prophets, that they obviously were good men. Okay, so if filth is being attributed to them like perversion, well, then that's the other reason then why their stories then will be false. Give up the hadith, okay? So take the good, leave the bad. But there are stories that maybe they wrote about Prophet, like let's say Prophet Muhammad, but the story is saying something good. Okay, that doesn't mean that you keep it. You get me? Because that's factual. There is no evidence, so give it up. You only want to keep the Scripture, because that's actually from God. Therefore, God only allows the devil to corrupt some parts, and that's the immoralities. Okay, you take that out. What the hell's your problem? How hard can this be? But a prophet is a human. You don't want to dishonor them by believing a story about them, that the story says something good, but it didn't happen. Because now you're accusing them of something. You're attributing a quality or a story to them that has no business with them. It's like your friend. You get me? You're hurting them that way. Do you want to hurt people? But God is not like that. He's just teaching you laws. You know? It's not going to hurt him if you cut some off and keep some for yourself. Because whatever you're going to keep in this situation, it's the ones that are the good that you can obviously see either are rephrased. It doesn't always mean it's God's exact words. But okay. It's still good to keep it. It's okay. But then the same thing here. Maybe there's a good story about God in the Bible or Qur'an. But it's one of those factual things again. Did God actually do that? Did he say that? Versus the law. You get me? Like, don't kill. Well, it doesn't matter if that's rephrased or not. You can still keep that. You get me? Because that's about right versus wrong. You need that for your record. So you can fight with evil one day that says it's okay to kill. But if there's a story about God in these books too, same thing here. And it's also rephrased and you don't know if it happened or not. And the other side of argument says it's okay to keep it because it doesn't say something bad about God. Well, you want to throw that out too. Because you don't want just random stories about anyone. Because that would dishonor them. Get it? It's wrong. Leave the stories. Goodness, demons are a creation like you, so they cannot, write words that a God would write. So that's what, when they corrupt books, it's always stories. Stories about prophets, stories about Jesus, stories about Noah, stories about Allah. It's always stories. So if you're like, okay, where's the first area we need to go after? If you're telling us God's religion and scriptures are corrupted. Well, one, you need to go after the immorality. So it doesn't matter if it's in the context of a story or if it's a statement that seems like a command from God. You go after the immorality. Teaches you to do bad things. First, perversion and sexism, because that's the highest evil. Two, then the other parts of corruption. An area that it is possible to enter. A story that doesn't say anything bad, but you don't know it's true because it seems eerie to you. Because you might be like, how do I know it's true or not? The others are stories too. How are you separating ones that we don't take out of stories? Because a lot of times God speaks in stories. I just told you, it just seems weird to you. It seems like a strange, weird story. God said this to so-and-so, so-and-so. It just seems like a weird story to you. You get me? But you don't feel comfortable taking it out because the thoughts are saying it doesn't technically do anything bad. You're uncomfortable, okay? And again, anyone can use that to say, I'm uncomfortable with the things that are actually good, right? That's what I'm saying. You have to be subjective. And there you go. You might be like, we get what you're trying to teach us, but there's no way you can leave it to us to do that because the humans who can always fight with us, obviously, they can say that something makes them uncomfortable and it actually does not make anyone uncomfortable. They're just lying because they want to take that good part out of the scripture. We're going to fight. How can you ask us to have these qualities? We're never going to get to a conclusion. We're going to fight each other. I'm just telling you how to do the right thing. I'm not telling you guys need to do that because I already know you cannot do it as human beings. So that's why God sends you somebody. Get it? Someone who can do that. Someone who has a higher wisdom than you who can do that. They're your prophets. In the future, obviously we don't know if Jesus is coming back, but God will send you people he chose who are obviously divinely chosen by him. They're not regular humans. They're going to then have the ability to do that for you. So because you're right, there's going to be too much conflict. He does send you a person from himself. It doesn't mean then, now you somehow glorify this person because they can do it. No, they're in communication with God. God will guide them as to what he wants them to tell you. You see, so it's still God that the info is coming from. This human doesn't just take it into their own hands. And now you're still going to have the same fear. What if they misguide us, right? That's what it means to be a messenger, a prophet. Or maybe you're not a messenger, a prophet. There's only one character in human history that all human beings have ever heard of that they believe God will send down, which is this person called Mahdi Abdullah. That's the only one who's not a prophet or messenger, but they're still like a prophet or messenger. They're chosen to do the same mission. You get me? So people like that are still chosen by God, you don't have to even be paranoid about them misguiding you, because that means what? What did I just say? God chose them. They don't just have wisdom, get it? They're not just a leader who wanted to be your leader. Same thing here. They can misguide you. They're human. They can fall to sin. Also, because sometimes you can misguide people accidentally because you may not understand something. But when a misguidance is sinful is when you're calling them to evil, obviously, because that's something you know, right from wrong. I'm saying God is the one telling them what to do. So you get me? Your creator is in charge here. He's telling them to turn left or right. So they're not going to misguide you. So because God knows your limitations, he knows the evil side will argue with you even if something is obvious. And he knows that there are times that something is not obvious because exactly no one actually knows because we're a creation, right? We don't know anything unless we saw it or hear it. Then okay, he's going to send you someone that he himself, God, is telling them what to say to you. You get me? So it's not the human, because then we're going to still have the same problem, right? That they also have weakness. You don't have to be paranoid about that either. You don't have to be paranoid about people not agreeing with them. You know, even though what they're saying is true and logical and they've done everything they can to prove it, evil is always going to disagree at some point. There's always going to be people who don't want to follow whoever God chooses. Then that doesn't mean that you use that to then say God didn't do enough good way to help his creation, rather he didn't do a good job sending a tactic that works just because there's always humans who disagree. No, you're going to see it. They're going to disagree from a place of just immorality, not from a place of confusion. Because then that would mean God is weak or something, that he didn't send them someone who has enough intellect and wisdom to take away their confusion, right? So when it's about things like that, things that don't make you a bad person, you just need more understanding, and therefore you don't follow something because it's confusing. Is what That's the area, because that doesn't make you bad, because you have the right to understand, even if you're being accused of being difficult by others when you're not, right? Maybe they just understood it faster or whatever, or they don't care. Okay, God believes it's your right to understand him. So for that reason, he is going to give whoever he sent on, maybe now, right, a wisdom they didn't even have originally. You get me? Now he's going to maybe send down another example, another wisdom, their mind or situation is going to be created by God to then explain to that group who doesn't understand what they need to understand. And now they're going to submit to God. You see, it's always about getting you to freely and willfully agree using logic. So the times that they're just promoting evil and wickedness, oh, I'm a male, I'm created this way, so I need more than one female, that's just a pervert. No one's going to waste their time on him. He's lying. So that person already did their part. They're not going to waste their time trying to get that pervert to agree. But that's like saying, let's try to get a wicked human to, that's not our job, goodness. They already do agree. Evil is evil. They just want to lie. Okay, that's a liar. We're not going to waste our time with them. So the areas that God does not need to, right, explain anything to you, because it's not about explanation. You're just evil. You're just lying. He's not going to tell his leaders to do that. Waste their time on these humans. So they're just going to have to be punished. Goodbye. You know, they're going to probably do other things for those humans, right? Like pray for them, tell them the power demons have over them, the way demons are, pushing them to be hateful and not submit to good, like that. They're going to give them wisdom either way to understand how they can overcome those demons that are, right, inspiring them to never want to admit against their own immoralities. Okay, but when something is about wisdom, when humans are really fighting from a place of, I really believe my view is right, because, right, like it's not about, they're not promoting something bad, but they're fighting over things that are like factual or things like that, right? Okay, wisdom and knowledge is going to be given, therefore, to God's leaders. You get me? He's always going to give them logic and wisdom at a high speed level. Why? Because one, God does not force. Two, he wants you to agree, you get me, on your own to something, and that requires just, he could have created it some other way, but the way that he created things now, our mind makes that decision, right? Okay, so things have to enter the mind through what? Reasoning or logic. So they're going to come with reasoning and logic. Yes, right? They'll have some way to prove to you they're from God, etc., in terms of, at least so you know who they are. But I'm talking about when they explain something is right or something is wrong, they're going to use logic with you. Why does God do that? Why doesn't he just make them have powers like Angel Gabriel to just do some really scary, powerful thing? And you all just say, oh, we okay. I don't want to die. I obey. Because there you go. God is not creepy. He does not want you to obey from that unhealthy place of, right, exactly, unwilling obedience. He wants you to obey with peace and joy, and clapping your hands and happy. Like that type of, he's loving. He's good. He's not neutral. He's a good God. He just created evil. So because he wants you to, right, love him and worship him from a place of your own will, which means love, right? You're coming from a place of love. It's the same when leaders come down, because they're just telling you what he told them, right? He wants you to obey, and the only way you can do that is if you see the good in what they're saying. You see how it honors you as a human, and when you were going against it, you were just evil, Okay, so he doesn't force. That's the proof. He doesn't like to force you. Because if he wanted to force you and he doesn't think he should be loving enough to you to get you to see why something is good for you on its own, he feels sort of evil way of entitled to you, but then he would have sent down creations that are, right, created stronger than you, who have power and can just make you disappear instantly if you say no, who just come and beat you up and scare the hell out of you. Okay, so that's actually why God doesn't do that. Two, God allowed the devil to have the free will to do evil, right? So he knows the devil's going to then lie about him to say, that's why God always sent down supernatural people who have extremely powerful powers, like an angel, or even worse than that. I'm sorry, even more than that. He knows the devil will flip it. If God was to actually have a history of sending leaders or prophets to you who only do supernatural things, but they don't use logic, something, right? That is better to use to guide you, because it proves God's quality that he doesn't force. You get me? It proves his love, basically. It proves the fact that, he wants to give you time to understand, because some logic has to enter people's mind for maybe months or years. Like, take your time, But not obviously things like don't commit murder. Well, it's going to give you time to understand that. What the hell's wrong with you? If you disagree with that, we have a problem, obviously, because now you're going to go kill someone, right? You get my point. Things that are normal to take your time to understand. No one's going to rush you. So that's the other qualities prophets had, right? Like Prophet Noah. They were here for so many hundreds of years, calling every generation to God like that. So sometimes that's why maybe you don't have other prophets coming down right after him to that same people, because he lived way too long. Unlike you and I. We decreased over time as human beings, the way we look and the time we used to live. So you get what I'm saying? Okay, so those are the reasons, right? But think about it. God knows, since the devil has permission to lie, right? He's going to use the fact that God always used something the next generations cannot see with their own eyes as evidence, right? Those people came, they had power, then they died, right? Now, what does this generation have from their parents to tell you why you should worship God and why right is right and wrong is wrong? There's no way to, right? There's no skill or behavior or quality or tool that they have to continue this belief or this way of life into the next generation. Do you agree? Because that was a situation that was subjective only to that generation they were in. Someone just came. Well, so-and-so died, Now it's not going to help people in other parts of the world or people in another generation. You get me? God wants you, the human race, to spread what they taught you. You cannot spread it unless you have a quality that you also have, which is logic, correct? And that's another way he tries to keep you humble. Whoever he uses, whoever God creates supernaturally to be your leaders, that's another way to keep them humble. Because you get me, no matter what powers they're given, no matter what authority they're given over demons, right? They can command demons in a way that demons have to obey them at a higher level than you guys. Okay, whatever they're given, right, in order to also keep them humble, God, make sure that they are being told to spread knowledge to you from God using a quality humans have. You get me? Even though they're supernatural and they're created, in a way that we would say is better than you. You know what I mean? Not superior in an evil way where you're not equal to each other in your rights. No, better as in like, right, they have qualities that are supernatural you don't have, right, like that. Okay. And still they're being told to use logic with you. Something that when they die, you, a human who's not supernatural, you can become a good leader, and you can spread what they taught using your mind as well. That's the same tool they used. You get me? So they might be allowed to have some miraculous things happen in their lifetime, just for cool, experiences, right? Just for God to show you his greatness. But that's not going to be the main way they are made by God to spread his religion. Whoever he uses as a leader, right? Because I'm sure what a lot of us have wondered. That thought has come to me too, right? Oh, Jesus had great qualities. I wish he was just greater, so that then everyone would follow what he said. No, that's not good. Because how do you then guide the ones who are evil and don't want to change? Since their mind is the reason they don't want to change. Where are they making the decision to not agree? In their head, right? In their mind. So do you see how powerful this is? Good people agree to good because they use their mind and heart. Evil humans agree to evil because their heart and mind is bad. So the ultimate way to actually get you to follow or agree in something is to get your mind and heart to like it and agree to it. You see? So then since God created that as a system already, he created that law that's how you get anyone to agree who's a creation, right? It has to enter their mind and heart, and they like it or don't like it, and then they make a decision. Well, then, okay, the leaders are going to come down and have that as the way they also try to get you to follow them. They're going to use what they teach you, right? They're going to try to use it to enter your heart and mind. Okay, can you force something to enter people's heart and mind? No. So force is already out of the question. Because you have to, right, allow it to enter your heart and mind. Okay, same thing for evil. They cannot be like they feel this way. A perverted male cannot say he just feels that way. You get me? He's not going to act like he was somehow born with that quality in his heart and then use that lie to then make it seem like then people should just let him be that way, because he's going to act like that's in his heart and everything is through the heart, so let me be this way. No. Because evil comes to your heart and mind. You allow it to enter your heart and mind. So he cannot act like he was created that way. Because it entered his heart and mind through his permission. He chose to be perverted. So he has the power to then, okay, get it out of his heart and mind. You guys might be like, well, but he can act like he didn't choose to allow it into his heart and mind. She can act like she didn't choose to allow, being a gossipy, nasty, rude type of human female in her heart and mind. She can act like that's her nature or something. I told you, we use logic to prove them wrong. We use logic again. We use the same tool we used earlier to try to get to their heart and mind. It is the same tool you're going to be able to use again to get them to stop lying when they say something is in their heart and mind that righteous person from God was saying is immoral. Such as I tell you, perversions and sexisms in the Qur'an and Bible and all religions are bad. Okay, evil humans are not going to say they can't help feel this way. A homosexual cannot say to me they're just born this way. Males who like to act like 4 wives in Islam is their nature. They cannot lie to me. I'm going to use logic to prove their heart and mind is not created that way. They just allowed it to enter their heart and mind, this perversion. They agreed to it, just like they could have agreed to being a murderer. So, but how can I prove they're lying? How can I prove to you they did that to themselves? They're lying to us. That's not in their actual heart and mind from the beginning. And right, therefore God didn't create them that way. God therefore is not okay with these fake laws. You agree? Because if we can prove that it's not created in them from the beginning, these qualities, which then would mean it's in their heart and mind, right? That would then, mean that these immoralities are from God. You get me? That would mean that God is actually saying they can do that. Okay. Since we're saying it's not from God, since we're saying this is filth and perversion, and they're just evil humans, and we all know evil humans lie and call something evil good, so we don't have to be confused as to why then they're lying, because we know that's what evil just does. It likes to act like it's normal, rather than looking at you and say, yes, I know I'm evil. I know this is bad. I don't care. It doesn't do that. It likes to act like that's normal, then it can't help it. It cannot stop it. It acts like it wants to stop, but it can't. There you go, because that's like nature, right? Your nature is something sometimes you would love to stop, but you can't, right? Maybe you would love to not be hungry, but you can't, like that. They want to make it seem like it's not their will. And what is evil? A choice, okay. So the goal is to make evil seem like not a choice, but more like embedded in you, to then make it seem like then it's God's fault, to then make it seem like then the parts of his scriptures and religion that is corrupted, to say evil is okay, to make it seem like exactly, to make it seem like it's actually from him. They don't feel comfortable to just say evil is from God. Because exactly then good humans will come to you and say, how dare you? This is bad for you, etc., etc., etc. But then if the evil ones then say, what should we do? How can we act like it's from God? Man, how can we flip this? Oh, let's act like we somehow are created that way. Let's somehow act like we can't help ourselves. Because if we willfully, admit to the fact that, this is something we're choosing to do because we're bad-hearted, they're going to use that to then say we should be killed off and beaten up and incarcerated. You gave me the gonna. Obviously, know that will get them punished. No one's going to waste their energy on them if they don't want to agree to stopping abuse on others, right? And some things you don't beat them up for it, right? It's just bad heart. You don't punish them for it like that. You get me? They know if they admit that this is their choice, which means they're admitting it's not from God, they're admitting the books have to be corrupted, they're admitting it's not their nature. They know as long as they admit to the truth, people are going to stop punishing them. So they have to lie and say it's their nature. They have to lie and say males are just very sexual. They have to lie and connect sexual, which is a normal thing, to perversion. You get me? Because even if males were very sexual, that sexual would just be for one female at a time. If this one dies or she gets out of his life, okay, then he would just go to one just like a normal way. You get me? You being very sexual just means you would want to be intimate a lot. There's no such thing as very sexual in the sense that they like to act like it is out there somehow. You want more than one person at a time, at the same time, sorry. No. The fact that you're one person already disqualifies you from that lie. Because you're one human. You cannot have more than one to yourself. You can never be able to be created biological God to have the quality that you're one and you need more than one to be satisfied. That's already how you can prove he's lying or she's lying. The fact that they're one person, get it? Because then they're saying human beings are not created like them. They're accusing humans of not being created like them because all males don't act like they're created this way. Just some say this, right? Duh, because we have some good males who just say, I'm not like that. The ones who are lying like to say, oh, males are like that. Get it? Because if they admit to the fact that it's just them or a group of them, then the other group would say, get these weirdos out of our cities. Go out of here. They never will admit. So they're going to attach it to a gender, to a race. They have to connect it to the human species. They might say human nature. Because they feel like as long as they attach it to something bigger than themselves, then they make it seem like then somehow that means or that proves or that confuses people into thinking that there's no way for those people to fight you into proving that it's your choice. If it's your choice means what? Get it out of your heart. It's your will. You did that to yourself. Get it out of your heart. So they have to always make it lies. The lies would try to make it seem as if it's not their personal choice, but from their gender, from their race, from their human race. You get me? You guys just think they just like to lie. No, this in their mind gives them, right, in their mind, a way to then accuse God of therefore being responsible for that because he created the nature of a gender, the nature of a species. So then they think they can connect that to the corrupted parts of the scriptures. You think humans thought about all this? What the hell? The devil did. Is he smart? No. God created evil. Evil was created this way. It was created to, have this sort of psychology. So you can just learn it, get it? If you become evil. Anyone can learn that. Evil is like a teacher. If you become evil, which you might be like, how has someone become evil? Envy enters their heart and then hatred enters their heart. Those two emotions, that's how you become evil. But the first way is actually envy, just so you know. So sexist males, perverted males are envious of women. So that's then the way they think they should use the envy. Because what if they would envy and use it to just say she shouldn't have the same cars like them? Like that. You can use envy in many ways. They for some reason like to focus on every aspect of her life and try to limit her. As a society, we just see the one that's the most immoral, right? The perversion, the abuse, the sexism in ways of limiting her in relationships like that. We all see that one first. It doesn't mean that's the only envy they have towards her. They target only this area of her life. No, it's just that this is the highest of evil ways that they come after her rights. If we were to see all the ways that their envy affects her. You get me? We're just being awesome as a species. We're seeing the biggest one. It doesn't mean that's the only way they're envious to her, right? The sexism and the perversion. No, they try to limit her in things that have nothing to do with her honor, her body as a person, They go after her money. They say things like she shouldn't have the same money as a male in the same job, like that. They say things like she shouldn't travel if she's by herself. But you get me? The envy is going to affect her rights in every area that a human, right, has rights. In certain areas that only reflect her, maybe like pregnancy, they're going to come after every area of her life and make a statement that she cannot do something or she should do something based on that envy. So then what did the envy now turn into? Hatred. Okay? You guys get the point. So yeah, this is evidence as to why God is wise, and he created a system to get his creation to always follow him and understand him. When his leaders are here, when his scriptures are here, and after they're both gone, he made it easy for his creation by still requiring that same system to still continue to guide you to when evil then starts to come and act like it's from God, and right, religion is corrupted. There's no one here to guide you, but you guys can continue to guide yourself, you know, by using that same tool those people had. Logic. They use logic with you. They use their mind and their heart with you to connect with you, right? Okay, isn't that awesome? There's one tool we all are gonna keep using. So it's okay if leaders die. It's okay if God's scriptures get corrupted. God has no fear that he did anything evil to you, right? Because the tool is still the same. But if those people he sent down, if those scriptures were some supernatural, divine, scary looking thing, okay, when they disappear, then you would agree God would then not be just. Because that's the only way he gave you to know him. And those things have a time limit. They disappear. That book is not some cool looking, sparkling, right, book that's just stuck to the sky. Everyone could just look up and read the laws of God. Okay, thanks. Chapter 7, please. And it flips. Oh, cool. And then you go. It's not some digital books like that do that for you, right? They like to make them have those cool images sometimes, like yellow lights sort of come out of them, right? To just demonstrate that it's spiritual when you sometimes Google these books. You get me? So why? Okay, then now let's get to the point of. So yeah, God sees the wisdom. That's how you know he's a wise God. There's many ways to guide you, but he picked one that no devil can corrupt you. Logic. Because you always have that ability. He created you with it. Which then, okay, this proves then God created women logical. That's a lie when they say she's not as logical as a male. I'm not saying she's logical too. No, I'm saying they're equal in their logic, just so you know. I'm not saying she has some, and they always say that she has none. No, they say she has some. I'm saying she has the exact same equal level of logic as a male. She just might have more qualities of using her emotional side more than him. That's a choice. You get me? You and I could both have an equal amount of mango, but I could also have orange. Do you agree? Does that mean just because I have orange that I don't have an equal amount of mango with you? No. So mango is logic. You and I have both 100%. Who cares if God created me with orange? You know, a little bit more than maybe you. That doesn't mean I don't have. Okay, then why do they do that? Why do they act like that somehow is what I'm saying is not true? They like to act like if someone has more orange, right, emotion, that then the logic somehow goes down or something a notch. No, it doesn't. Because it's just a certain percentage of that mango that God, if he was wise, if he was good, if he was moral, which they agree he is, has to therefore create both genders with, because there you go, that would give them an equal fair chance at finding out right from wrong and who he is using that mango logic. So that would mean God is setting up females to fail. They would be the only ones to be like, what the hell are you talking about? I don't understand. How dare you mock my gender like that? Huh? God is setting them up then. You're accusing him of setting them up. If you're saying logic is not an equal percentage in both of them, they're both logical. It's just that humans have a choice. Do you agree? You have a choice to do everything, good or bad. Okay, so this is the same. You also have the choice to do the right thing and use logic. Or not use logic and use emotions that are not healthy for you. Because emotions are good and bad. There's good emotions, there's bad emotions. At any point that you're not being logical, it doesn't mean you're using good emotions. And that the problem or the mistake you did was that you just weren't supposed to use emotions. No, if you were supposed to use logic and you used emotions, then it actually becomes a sin. It becomes an immoral thing. Because you get me? Logic was a requirement here. Because maybe we were talking or fighting about morality. You cannot use emotion here. Obviously, logic impacts emotion. If something is bad to do, like killing innocent people, that's also an emotional side. We could prove that's bad too, right? Because emotion, we could use the fact that it hurts us like that. I'm not saying you can't use emotion to talk about right versus wrong. I'm saying logic is what you use either way. You know? The fact that you would use how someone feels to say that then in that situation that's dishonoring to the human, to fight the times that then they like to lie and act like something immoral. If you don't allow a male to do it or a female to do it, also hurts their feelings, then act like then we should let them do it because they want to do something bad because they're saying it hurts their feelings if we don't let them. I just told you, logic is therefore the only way out, because now you can only use logic to prove them wrong. You cannot use emotion again to prove them wrong when they say they, want to be perverted. And you show them how being perverted from an emotional side, right, hurts a human. And now they counterattack and say it hurts them too, for you to not let them hurt the human. Oh my God, you're stuck now. What the hell are you going to say? You think these things don't know how to reverse everything? That's the whole reason why our world is evil. Because God knows that. Because he created evil. That's not that human beings so smart. That's just how God created evil. It just enters them. That's just how they just operates within them. It's like a certain substance, So God then is wise, right? He created it to be like that. He then would create evil and good. So then he would create good. Since good is correct, he would create good to have a way out of this situation. Logic. We come back to logic now. We're using logical reasoning to prove why when they say they're hurt, that it's not actually hurt. They just want to do something bad. And they're lying when they say if we don't let them do it, it hurts them. Goodbye. Logic is required, everybody. That means both genders are created logical at an equal level. It doesn't matter if this gender is more sensitive than you as a male. I just told you we have sensitive males. So that's the other thing I came to expose that the devil lied about. He's a liar. Not all males are the same. We have ones who are sensitive. Okay, so because they exist, he likes to hide them by always pushing them to homosexuality. I swear by God, they're the ones who go into it. They're the ones who go into suicide. They're the ones who sort of deal with life in ways that other males don't deal with it. But since they're going into situations where you don't understand, right? That was the reason for them to go into those things. Exactly. You don't know the sensitivity was how the devil got them. They don't want to use the equal percentage of logic they also have. They want to use a good quality God created them with, which is sensitivity or emotional or whatever you want to call it. Since God created, it's not going to lead them to evil, obviously, or bad situations like suicide. Suicide doesn't make you evil. It's just not healthy. Okay, then you would still blame God for this. No, it just means they use the bad emotions. Get it? They're sensitive. It's their choice to use the emotions that are immoral. Because it's easy to get into emotional side. Okay, so is emotion bad? No, emotions are good and bad, meaning moral and immoral. There's moral emotions and immoral emotions like envy and hatred is immoral. And there's moral emotions of hatred too, evil, because there's two types of hatred. There's moral emotions of love, correct? Mercy, kindness. Because those are actually emotions, not just qualities. Because you feel kind, you act kind. So it's their choice to see what I'm saying. Get completely away from logic, go into the sensitive box. So they're still in good, right? Because sensitive is good. God created sensitivity as a good thing. It's their choice to go to the dark side of emotion. You get me? So the devil knows it's easier to push them to the dark side of emotions if they're already sensitive and they're usually in the emotion side. If they want to be on the emotional side, because then you still blame God and be like, well, why are they always on the emotional side? It's still God setting them up. I just said they just created more sensitive. It's their choice to operate from it the wrong times, the wrong times. You're supposed to operate from it the correct times, such as when you're offering empathy to people, that other humans who are not created as sensitive as you also offer empathy to people. Okay, but you are going to offer empathy better than them. Get it? I swear to God, it just gives you better skills. see, the equal percentage that you would say God should give the others the same right to do that, right? Giving empathy, being sensitive. I just told you, we all have an equal percentage of that emotion, and we all have an equal percentage of logic. Just the amount you would say is required, so that we're equal, so that it's fair. So God doesn't set us up. We all have it. Okay, but some are just gonna have more sensitivity. You get me? They have. Let's say 50 is required. Let's say as a human species, we need 50% of sensitivity to be normal. Okay, so I'm saying, if for example 50 was a number, let's pick a number. We all have 50, because then we're all able to be human equally, humane, humanity, etc., normal, etc. We all have an equal chance. Okay, and then we all need logic. Okay, let's say we have 50%. That's required for all of us. Okay, we all have the 50%. The only difference is this one might have 60% of sensitivity. It doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt anybody. They can just use it. Just like some people are pretty and some people are less pretty. It's just something you can use. It doesn't take away the other people's right to still find someone to marry them. You get me? They still have someone who's around their physicality to still marry them. It doesn't matter. It's just a blessing. So the devil likes to hide that males have sensitive groups among them. They're the ones who usually go into homosexuality from a place of other males coming to teach them that. You know? If you observe them, they're not acting the exact same way, like that way perverted males act towards females. You give me the sort of creepy way, trying to act dominant. They don't do that. They act very, very creepy and submissive like to the other male who's being perverted to them. That's him using his sensitivity in the wrong way. Okay, and same thing for logic. God created human beings to have, right, equal amounts of logic, no matter the gender, no matter the situation. It's just that, right, some people, due to knowledge and understanding and education, right, they can understand some subjects better than you, but just the logic needed to at least be a human. I told you we all have it. Whew, okay. But he's going to then give some people the blessing of having more logical percentage than you. It doesn't hurt you. It's just a blessing they have. The amount that's required to understand them at a highly intellectual level, we're all created with it. No matter how intelligent that person speaks, we can all listen to them and understand them, including supernatural leaders that come down with wisdom, logic, and intellect that's so high because they're supernatural. You're all going to be able to understand that person. None of you are going to leave the room and say, I couldn't understand what the hell they're saying. See, so that does prove that it doesn't matter if someone, you would say maybe it's 2-3% more logical analysis, more in their brain, and that 3% for you is more sensitivity. You both can sit in that room and listen to that person God sends down, which are the people who have the highest level of logic, just so you understand. Because logic is required to understand God. If they're going to help you understand God, their logical reasoning, the way they explain things using logic, has to be higher. So then don't get jealous of them. Don't get mad. They have no choice but to have such a skill. How can they then fight with evil? Evil argues. Evil acts like it's using logic to prove why it should sit in your way. So it's a tool that a God should give someone if he was a good God, to support you. A police officer needs a gun to protect you from someone who has a gun. Do you agree? Why are you mad at God for blessing these people with things they need to have in order to help you against the devil? The devil is supernatural. So your leaders from God have to be supernatural. You're just not going to see it vividly with your eyes because they have a human flesh body too. But demons see the supernatural qualities in them. That's why they're scared of them, get it? In a way that maybe you won't freak out if you see them. Unless God wants you to see what they look like in a sort of spiritual way. So they're actually fighting with demons and fighting with the evil humans. That they have to be created strong, then a regular human would crumble. Too much pressure, you know? So then I'm going to end it with this. This proves then why God, right, allows miracles to happen, but he doesn't use it as a primary and only only source, right? One, he doesn't use it as primary, and two, he doesn't use it as the only source. Because what if you don't use it as the only source, but it's primary? It's not primary either. For him, logic is primary as his tool to guide you to him, to understand everything about his creation in this life. And it's also primary tool he uses. That's why miracles were once in a while, right? What Jesus could do, Muhammad didn't do it, but he did something else. And there you go. This prophet's life is corrupted, so we don't know what his supernatural abilities were. Duh, then that's the devil's way of then saying, well, he wasn't a prophet like Jesus, like Christians like to say. Well, his life is corrupted, goodness. They accuse him of being a pervert to children. What do you think? Obviously, his life is corrupted. His whole story is misconstrued. So understand the fact that this obviously was probably taken out. Maybe he had some cool abilities like how Jesus used to cure leprosy. Come on. You should already know. Whoever is going to come after them is the only way out for you. Leave people alone who died already. Their story is never going to be your way out. Logic is just your way out from when evil is calling itself good, using them and God as a weapon. You have to use logic to say, no. That's it. Just leave their stories alone, because that's factual. You have to be there to know it. You're committing a sin against them, knowingly and unknowingly. If you write stories about them and say things about them, just as it would be a sin for you, who's never met me, to write a story about me when I was 10 years old. How dare you, right? I could sue you for that. So leave prophets alone. Stop acting like they're some sort of, right, thing that everyone has some sort of access to. You treat them like celebrities, like you treat them like some property that everyone has access to celebrities or something. Like, get it? Like there's some sort of object that everyone can talk about and treat any way they want. That you took away their humanity. You don't respect them the way you respect yourself when someone lies about you. You sue them for defamation of character. Why people just gossip about celebrities in the news? So-and-so died today. So-and-so cheated today. Why does society not consider that a crime? Why does the government not protect them from mobs trying to assault them? When they consider you, someone coming up to you, assaulting you, an assault. Because there you go, the devil took away their human rights. It's not criminal if someone touches them, harasses them, bothers them to the government. And the government is the one saying it's wrong to do those things to regular people. Also, just because of their profession? See? Even this example proves to you how the devil is behind this confusion for you when he, right, lies about everything that I just fixed. Right? Woman's nature, male's nature, God's nature, the truth about all these important concepts. Why God doesn't use only and primarily prophets having powerful powers to just come and save you. How it's not healthy. Because it doesn't give humans a chance to obey from a place of their own willful agreement, using their own mind. They just saw something cool and that's proof. So they just followed for that reason. They didn't really use their mind. You might be like, well, how does that hurt them? Except the fact that you said we go from generation to generation. What if God didn't create us from generation to generation? We were just one time, right? And we all saw that person. Now we obeyed. What's the big deal if they die? We don't need the next generation to see that, and they won't see it because the person died. Therefore, something else like logic has to be used to spread it, and therefore God told them to have logic. No. Think about it. When God told that human to tell you it's wrong to be this way because that's perversion, it's wrong to do that because that's this type of abuse, it's wrong to lie because lying is ABC. When the human told you God's laws about right versus wrong, even though you know it in your conscience, still God has to tell you, right versus wrong. He's still, you get me, your teacher, your guide. He's the creator. If you were to just obey and not use your own mind, if that wasn't God's inbuilt tool for the way he wants humans to obey, then guess what would happen? Since you didn't give yourself time to analyze what you were taught and agree to it, you just obeyed. Did you actually see why something was good or bad? No, right? Because you didn't use your mind. You didn't analyze. Murder is bad. Okay. Rape is bad. Okay. You just obeyed. You didn't actually think about what the hell rape is and murder is and thief is, and actually see why it's bad and then agree it's bad. So then what's going to happen later when the devil comes to you? To corrupt some of you into becoming this way, or at least agreeing that these things are good to do, and you advocate for it and do it on a lower level. You abuse people, you just don't murder. You're perverted to people, you just don't rape. Okay, now you don't have your brain, your own analysis fighting with you. Nothing's fighting with you. Your conscience is there, duh. You're created to know right from wrong. I'm saying no one on the face of the earth has the skill. No one has the tool to come to you and say why what you're doing is wrong. They're just going to tell you what they were told. Yeah, that prophet so-and-so told us murder is bad, so murder is bad. Rape is bad, so yeah. You can't do rape because it's bad. They can't. When you challenge them because you're evil, right? I told you evil argues and God created it that way. So since he knows that, he would obviously then, if he's a good God, create a way out for you. This is the way out. He wants you to use logic. He didn't just create you with logic. Because you might be like, what's the point? We already know. You told us God created us logical. Yeah, but he wants you to use it. If you don't use it, then how do you know how to actually use it? Goodness. So he doesn't just want to create you with logic as a proof that he's good. He wants to put you in situations where you have no choice but to use logic. Because then what's the point of creating you with it? You need to use it. You might be like, what do you mean? What's the point of just creating us with it? He could have just created us with it because, duh, we need to know right from wrong. I just told you. He could have used it. He could have used what humans like to act like God should have done for them. Miracles. Someone just comes down with a divinely gold book from the heavens. Just laws are in there. An angel comes down and just simply narrates laws for you. Okay, rule number 1, like that. Nothing is used to tell you why rule number 1 is rule number 1. You're just told. And you're not created with logic. You're just told. And you don't have to use logic because you're arguing with me. You don't need to use it. You're saying, what's the point? I can just be told what's right or wrong. Why do I need to be created with logic or use logic? Okay, you're not created with logic and you don't need to use it. God will not put you in situations to use it. When that wisdom, that knowledge, that book, that prophet is gone, because I just told you, you have an enemy. You have a devil. He's going to live until the end of the human race. He's out there. There you go. Maybe if there was no evil, you don't need this. But since we have demons out there, since we have a devil who lies, because what if he did other things, but he didn't lie? What if he just left religion alone and didn't corrupt it? Okay, fine. But since he has a quality of choosing to use the free will he has to do bad to you, also to lie, to corrupt scripture, now the scripture is not your way out. Because you're thinking, I just need some supernatural event to happen from God to tell me what he thinks. I don't need to have logic or use logic. Why? That's stressful. Okay, let's do it your way. This is how you know God is wise. I'm trying to show you your way is wrong. When the devil attacks you, when he corrupts scripture, or maybe scripture is not corrupted, but the evil humans who operate from a place of evil come to you, right? And they say to you, what I'm doing is right. I have the right to do it. It's moral. Now what in the world are you going to use since that book is gone? Since that cool supernatural event is a single isolated event that your forefathers saw. Okay, fine. Maybe God repeats it in every generation. You can use that argument. He can do it for us in every generation. Okay, let's say God did it in every generation. Evil likes to argue. You still are not getting to the finale of defeating evil. Now what are you going to do about the fact that evil comes back? Because maybe you defeated evil because you have these supernatural people in supernatural books always preserved and they keep coming back maybe. Maybe you look at the sky, you call their name and they appear and tell you what they told you in billion something AD. I'm sorry, you get me? It doesn't matter. That just gives you the factual information of what God sent down, right? What his laws are, just the factual part of it, just the sort of, I can't find another word, just the factual part of it. You just have a book. You feel safe at least, right? Okay, but evil has a quality where it lies and argues and twists inside a human being. That's evil. What the hell are you going to do now? And they're possessed by demons who are around since Adam and Eve, so they know how to argue. What the hell are you going to do? You only live in this generation. These demons who are possessing this person have lived since Adam and Eve. They've argued with many human beings like you, even though they're dumb as hell. The same argument is so easy, obviously, because God, I told you, will not make it complex. God is not going to make evil difficult to get rid of goodness. That would then obviously make it defeat good. Evil is weak, so it's always easy to defeat. But still, the argument could be challenging for some people, right? That's what I'm saying. Now, what are you going to do when it argues with you? So you have to be created with logic, and you need to then now use it. Now you have no choice but to use it. Because there's always people in this world who are evil, who are going to use lies to say evil is good and accuse God of it, using the scriptures that always get corrupted. Lie about people who died, who are supernatural, to guide you. When they die, they create stories about them. Now, you don't just have the benefit of being created with logic to mentally, see, you didn't talk to them yet. Just mentally, when you heard it, you laugh. You know that's nonsense. Okay, that's the benefit of being created with it. You get to at least have an opinion before you have to actually dialogue with them, correct? It's good to have an opinion ahead of time, right? You're prepared. Okay, so then you might be like, that's enough. Why do I need to use it? I can just be creative with it. At least I know what I should believe. You have to use it. Because we need to make them stop lying. We need them to get out of our way. Because they're humans. They can use the fact that if they were good, they have the right? To live this world with us. Which they lose that right if they're obviously raping and killing. They don't have that right. You have to kill them. But you get me. They're going to act like they're good. Get it? They're going to act like they're good. And therefore, you can't kill a good person. They have the right to be here. They're going to use the fact that they're human as a way to act like there's no such thing as a human who one day has to die. They're going to act like they always have, as a human, the right to live. When you lose the right to live, when you harm others. Get it? Okay, so they're going to act like then the fact that they're human. See, twisted logic. They're going to use arguments with you. You got to know how to use logic, then not just know what they're saying is wrong. Because you know what they're saying is nonsense. But how can you use it to shut them down? You might be like, why do I need to argue with them and shut them down? Who are you? Are you God? You can't just say, let's get rid of these people. And actually, they have to be get rid. See, they're equal to you. It's a species. This proves that God doesn't believe you're superior than each other based on gender or anything. Because he doesn't believe one group should just eradicate the other. He believes you have to use logic to show why what they're saying is wrong, and then you believe they deserve these types of punishments. And then when they do the same thing to you in reverse, an immoral conduct of saying, you people should actually go to prison, because like that, when evil now likes to act like the police, that, right, God taught you to do the right thing, when they act like they're doing the right thing, and they use law enforcement and imprisonment to actually go against the things I teach you, for example, on my podcast, I say abortion is a human right for a female, no matter what stage of the pregnancy. Okay, then what are they going to say? That's sinful, therefore they're going to go and arrest whoever wants to do that. See? Because they're equal to you. They're species. They're not equal to you in the eyes of God. Okay? Evil humans lose everything in the eyes of God when they become evil. So he considers you superior and better than them because morality makes us superior than each other, but not the other type of superior in terms of how we're created. Oh, we're equal. They're human. We're our species. So you get me? We have the same human rights. So for that reason, evil humans, when they do bad things, now they don't have some human rights, obviously. I'm talking about we have the same human rights in terms of we're human, right? We have to, obviously, we all have the same human rights. Okay, but when it becomes evil, they don't have the same human rights all the time. Because let's say they killed someone who's innocent. Well, now they don't have the human right of living, correct? Now they deserve death. Like that, you get what I'm saying? So they're going to act like, you get me, that they're still in that place of being human like you, who didn't do anything to anyone that would get them punished. They can act like they're normal. And they're promoting the most harmful, dangerous things, like Islam, the perversions, and Christianity, the perversions and sexisms they have. They take away your rights and dignity. One day they're going to start telling females who are raped to just marry the rapist. They're going to use the word marry when this is abduction and trafficking. The same way they're coming after her right to do abortion. Obviously, females are not doing abortion for fun. They're doing it for normal, healthy, rational reasons a human would need to save their life. And when it's rape, there's no reason other than the fact that that filth needs to get the hell out. End of discussion. So for that reason, listen to this example. You need, since you're not their creator, God needs to give you a tool that can help you fight them in a moral way that's not dictatorship. You're not acting like they're God either, even though you're on the moral side like me. You're using logic to prove them as a place of darkness. What they're saying is nonsense and lying. But because if you, even if you get me, because even if you, the one who's good, even though you're saying something truthful, if you were to still simply use the fact that what you're saying is true, to simply say that they're just wrong, but you don't explain it, you don't use logic to prove them wrong, then God doesn't want that for you. And he doesn't like that. Because then at some point, even you might think, just because you're good, that somehow now you're an authority over evil humans. Only God is the authority. So he's trying to protect us from treating each other like one is the God. You get me? When the ones who are pretending to be some authority or God are the evil ones, he's protecting us from that. Because he gave us logic, a tool that we can use to always remind them they're just like us. Go away. You can't tell us what to do. And what they're telling us to do is evil. That's the other reason. Okay, but when you're good and you become immoral in the sense that, yes, you're preaching for something good, but a little arrogance enters you and you think now you can do whatever you want to evil humans. Now God has to protect you from you also falling into that at a different way. Obviously, it's not the same way they're doing it. You have to be protected from arrogance. Because God is giving you a tool that simply shows the concept you're fighting against is actually bad. You're not saying you are the reason because you believe it's bad, that then it's bad. Because if you didn't use logic to stop evil humans, then it would seem like good people are just the reason that that thing is bad then. Because they simply said so. Does God want that? No. Do you want a life like that? No. You want someone to actually say something is bad and actually that's true. And it's provable to everybody, no matter how ignorant they are, no matter how low they are in their mind. That's logic. So then what is that? What did God just do then? If he made it this complex for us to get rid of evil humans, because they lie. There's demons working with them. They use powers. Obviously, we have the power of prayer. We have a power on the light side. He created this life in a way where it requires we obviously fight morally with them by being pushed to use logic in order to shut down their lies. Rather than simply, we know what the logical answer is, and we don't feel the need to explain it to them. We have to. Even though they know they're lying, we have to shut it down. Obviously, at some point, you stop doing that goodness. You're not going to argue with a criminal who just killed someone. You're not going to try to prove to him what he did. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about just when simply we need to shut down immorality. Like when religion and God is being used as a weapon. Like that type of way where you're not giving power to that side. You're actually defending God. You get me? Even though God doesn't need you to defend it. Like that, you're just defending the lies. You're just defending the truth, basically. You know, you're protecting the honor that your God has from that being defamed. Therefore, you're doing a good deed. You're going to be rewarded for that. Okay, so since you were put in that situation, that's how God keeps you humble, because you're a species. You're equal to each other. No one is above anybody. No one's dominant over anybody. We're simply fighting for morality and for rights that are actually from God. Okay, and for that reason, the other thing has to come in, that other quality of free will. We don't give someone free will who just raped someone, obviously. We don't need them to agree to be punished to punish them. But in order to protect evil humans from using the same concept to then punish people for things they should not be punished for, such as doing abortion or beating someone up in self-defense who's trying to kill them, when they act like those humans had no right to do that and then want to incarcerate them, kill them. Well, now we have to use logic to prove that that was not true, right? What the government is saying. They're saying this is bad and crime. We're going to have to use logic again to shut down the lies that corrupted government has of calling something a crime that is not actually a crime. It's not a bad thing to do. Or it's a bad thing to do, but you don't have the right to punish the human in that way, like that. You get me? It's because God does not want one side to dominate the other at some point and just act like they're telling you what the laws are. Because God is the one who tells us what laws are. So the good side is always pushed to do the right thing in a way that still does not take away evil humans their free will to sin. Because God is the one who's going to punish them. You see what I'm saying? Hell was created for that reason. If it was you and I, our job to punish them, then there's no need for hell. God would create ways in this life where, man, we can throw them in some hell. But is that a good idea? No, because then God knows good people can be thrown into that hell one day when bad humans take over your government. Do you see how dangerous this is? Because that does prove that we're equal to each other as a species. God is obviously trying to protect you from that consequence then. That one time, evil humans can take the place where good people used to control society and make laws, and they can call evil good now because, duh, they do evil. And now they get to do things that are punishment. You get me? To you, a good person. It's dangerous then. Do you agree? So that's why God does not then tell good people to go to a country that has laws that are immoral and kill them or beat them up. No, he tells that leader from him to go to them and simply do what I did with this podcast. Just use calling you, the quality of calling you, free will. We call you to good. We call you to give up that immorality. We use logic to get you to agree, rationale. That's it. At some point, we're going to have to come together as a human race with strength from God. If they're actually abusing their citizens, right? And they're saying it's their free will, we shouldn't come to their country and do anything to them. Leave us alone. How dare you? You just said we're equal as a species. Yes, what we do can be evil. We'll go to hell for it. But you don't always have the right to stop us because it impedes our free will. We didn't agree to the laws of God that you brought us. So leave us alone. At some point, that's true. We have to leave them alone. And at some point, we cannot leave them alone. They're raping, killing people. Guess how we're going to do it, though, in order to still not take away the fact that we're not an authority over them. You get me? We don't come and just control them. But we still want to do the right thing of protecting who? Victims from them, right? Because we can't stop them. We can't stop if they want to agree to being raped. I cannot prevent you from agreeing to that. That's your body. You see? So even though I'm against that, as long as you're doing it to yourself, I don't have God's permission to take that away from you. Your free will to harm yourself. I can only stop you from harming others. You get me? Because that person, you're taking away their freedom, their right. You're using yours, which I don't have the right to take. So no one has the right to incarcerate someone who wanted to commit suicide, obviously. That's their life. Only God can take your life. After that, it's only them. Again, right? They're not some immoral person who just raped and killed someone. You get what I'm saying? It's their life, just like it's their body. You have no right to punish them for that. Just help them. Goodness. And of course the governments are not stupid. They work. Obviously, that's the devil who says that. Of course I'm not punishing them. Mental hospital means I'm helping them. Liar. That's jail. As long as you're forcing something on somebody, it's not help. So the reason why punishment does not require your permission, right? Punishment is forced on people. When they, for example, let's say kill someone, it's because we would all agree that's okay to force them into that situation to kill them. They don't need to agree that killing that innocent person was bad. It's okay. We have God's permission to kill them for that crime. Again, when you prove it, goodness, I'm talking about people who really did it. You see, but there are certain sins, there are certain behaviors that you don't have the right to punish people. And you're not going to do something that's good for them, right? Like giving them food, but force it on them and call it help. It's not help as long as you're forcing. Help is never something you can force. As long as it's force, it's not help, it's abuse. Okay? That's objectifying the body. Whatever you put into it is you objectifying them like poison. Putting poison in their body. Help means come here. Let's have some therapy talk. Why do you want to die today? If they didn't kill themselves, leave them alone and pray for them. Don't go incarcerating people who didn't help them. It's not their job to prevent someone from using their free will God gave them to shoot themselves in the head or suffocate themselves to death. You get me? Just hold them morally responsible. Why didn't you talk to them that day, huh? What's wrong with you? Like that. So God's laws, when they come down, you're going to learn. He tells good people, right, really righteous people, to go and do it without the permission of evil humans. We have the right to stop that person from raping that person. I don't need his permission. I can beat him up. If I have no choice but to beat him up, you get me? I don't have a choice because I have to save that person's life. Okay. And then there are laws from God, such as abortion. And they're not going to flip and call it, then her killing a baby, we need to stop her at all costs. They're not going to flip morality on us here. And that's her right. Okay. And there are times that if the human was to do it in a way that is bad, only God can judge them. Like if she actually did abortion, when right, it was actually normal abortion, such as, with a male that she likes, her husband, whatever, normal human, right? Versus filth that's not human from a rapist. Okay, when it's something normal, like a female who is having her own normal child from marriage or whatever, if there was a time that she actually chose to do it in a way that God would actually say she shouldn't have done it, since she's not a bad person, because it doesn't make you a bad person, you don't have free will to get pregnant as a female, he created you that way, why would he then force you? He's not going to take away your right to have sex, as evil humans like to say, then don't have sex. That's a human desire, that's a human right. Birth is separate from sex, you weirdos. Just because God chose these two things to come after each other doesn't mean that's the reason you have sex, weirdos. You have sex because it's a desire like food, weirdos. It's just a lower level of desire. You're not going to die. You'll die if you don't eat. So it's their human right to get married and have sex. Children is a choice. Do you hear what I just told you? It's a choice. Do you want to be a parent? You're not a wife anymore. Now you're a mother. So do you want to be a mother? So God will never force that on her. Look how just he is. The things she doesn't have a choice in. She doesn't choose to carry children. He's not going to force it on her. And when it's rape, it's not about not forcing it on her and he's trying to be sweet. That is a filth, and take it out. End of discussion. And kill the bastard. That's from a place of righteousness. Okay. In situations where God would want you not to commit that abortion. Healthy, normal situation. He's not going to treat her in a way that then the sin is like, you're a bad person. Go to hell for some time. No. Because that's not a bad thing. It's a discomfort. It's like saying to God, God, I hate wearing this. I don't want to wear it today, my Lord. Like that. He knows that's an uncomfortable thing to wear. He's not going to punish you for it, but maybe it was a religious thing. You get me? Since he's a good God, you would agree he should see that as their right to like it or not. And if they obey it, well, they're just making him happy. You're not going to use that argument the way the devil uses possessing evil males and females every day. This is not about her, it's about a life. We have no choice. She has to really Goodbye. 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 This is their body, this is their life. We don't care what the hell is coming out. You are the human. It's what you feel and what you're comfortable with that matters. Nothing else matters. Something else is not going to have rights over your feelings to come out of you when you don't feel like it. Because that's just like something that's not in you trying to take your rights away. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter. See, they like to use the fact that it's coming out of her body to make it seem like it's her. It's not her. And you're so dumb as a species. How can you even say it's her? Don't they have their own body one day and walk around this earth individually? How dare you connect it to her then? She is just one person. That's the only her we have. I don't care if it's coming out of her body, coming out of her brain, or coming externally over there from an actual living being saying hello. It's always separate from her. That human is always separate from her. So it can never have rights over her. She has her body. It's her body. Just because a creator thinks a human should be born in that manner, you're not going to connect that to that lie you like to connect it to, as if he actually thinks it's now her body. You're not going to use what God did as a suffering for women. Keyword suffering is not a good thing. She will not go through that in paradise. You're not going to use the suffering he puts this gender through. Just like the other sufferings humans overall go through. We all die from disease at some point. You're not going to use something bad as a suffering when he could have created humans in a way where he doesn't take away her individuality. He didn't have to take over her life to some degree. You're not going to use that to make it seem like, thank God, because see, you're not going to make it seem like he doesn't care what her opinion is. He cares what her opinion is because it's her body. And he created her as an individual. And whatever is trying to come out is an individual. He's never going to say that things should rule over you. God sees her as an individual. So her feelings, her thoughts, her freedom matters to him. You're not going to say it doesn't matter to him because he puts her in that situation. You do know the devil's allowed to possess a male and try to rape people, right? Are you going to say then God doesn't care about your body because rape is out there? You think just because evil is out there, just as you don't use that to then say God likes evil, why suffering like this? You like to act like if he put one group through it, then he wants them to go through it. When it's not a joyful situation, he says get out of it because he loves her. Get it? He's merciful to her. He created her. It's her life, it's her feelings, it's her right, it's her humanity. So if she was to really do it in a way where we would say God didn't like it that time, that's between the two of them. When she dies, he's going to judge her for that. That's not something a group, the human race, can punish her for. It's one of those sins that is between you and God. Goodness? It's a personal thing. Just like you go to the doctor and you say, my hand is bleeding. Can you bandage it? No government is going to act like they can dictate if the doctor should bandage you or not. If she wants to go to her house and find her own Band-Aid, same thing if she wants to do abortion to herself. Leave her alone. It's her personal body. Let it go. Only an evil human would fight with this, because a human who's not evil would put themselves in this perspective, even if you're male, and you would understand. You would never care what that person does to their body, because if you were in that situation, you wouldn't want someone to control you. So since evil humans don't see themselves that way, right? They don't see how, if they were in that situation, how evil it is to tell themselves to, right, do what the governments like to force you to do. They're not human like us, get it? They're demons. They're possessed by demons. That human is filthy as hell. We're not wasting our energy on demons. We're not wasting our time on predator humans who think they're an authority. See, do you see? Even though righteousness and morality, they're the winner, they're the good, they're the leader, they're the authority over evil. I just told you that God is so humble that he doesn't even believe right or good humans should dominate the evil ones, force them into things. No, we just take the victims out of their countries. We take all those females and say to them, come over here, come to our countries where you can do abortion if you want. We're human, we have to advise you, obviously. Times that it's not obviously moral and logical to do something, you don't have a reason, we're going to obviously advise you not to do it. And she's a human, so you're accusing her of not thinking just like that too, as if females don't have reasons, as if they're not human, get it? I just told you we're a logical species. She wants to do something, she has a reason. So if she really had no reason, she then wouldn't do it. So you don't need to tell her that you're mocking her. But if we were telling her that from a place of right, just when humans just generically teach you right from wrong, okay, that's the only time you would tell her and it's not offensive. Such as when I just told you. We can just teach people not to do things when there's no reason to do it. You just, you're coming from an unhealthy place. God would advise you to just be okay with it. That's just you just teaching them. You're not saying that to them because you think they don't know. Because that's mocking them. And that's mocking God, as if then they don't know, as if females don't know. And only males know this or something. Well, aren't you both from the species? Did any of you ever meet God? Did you, as the male gender, meet God? So why you act like you have to somehow remind females what to do in this situation? That means you're acting as if you're a spokesperson for God as a gender. You're acting as if you know what the situation God would want her to do. What the hell? So you're saying she doesn't know, but you know? You wouldn't say you're a spokesperson for God. You wouldn't say as a male gender you spoke to God or something. So why you act like she doesn't know? If you're actually giving good, valid reasons why someone should not do abortion, I just told you she also would not do that. She would also agree with that. So when you accuse her of not having that human quality, because you want to take away her humanity and make it seem as if she doesn't know that as a gender and you, the male gender, have to remind her, then what the hell are you saying? Exactly. You're not just making it seem like you're the only one created with logic. You're making it seem like you know God's laws. Because just because you're created with logic, let's say it's true that you are logical and she's not. Then how do you know what God's laws are? That has nothing to do with you being logical. You're not going to know God's laws because you're logical. And that group is not. God has to send you his laws. So why are you acting like you're the only one who had access to his laws? Doesn't she know about religion too? Why are you treating her as if she needs you to tell her something? If it's something true, she would agree to it on her own. You wouldn't have to tell her. You're telling her because you're taking away her rights. End of discussion. I'm going to conclude, so I can keep going on this. So yeah, as I was saying, the good side would only have the right to now act like an authority only in situations where they're taking humans away from a land that doesn't want to take God's laws. If God's leaders came down, they spoke to the whole world, some countries, some people, some cities will agree, some will not. Okay, so how are they going to then, right, respect the free will God gave his creation, right? That means evil is going to be done and still make sure that justice is preserved. They're going to take away the victims, get it? They're going to go to a Muslim country and say to Muslim females, since you're the victims to these males, come with me. Let's go to this country. These are normal males who want to worship God. They'll marry you. Let's go. That's it. If that female says no, she wants to be objectified we can't stop her. That's her free will. That's how God preserves your free will in a way that he doesn't leave victims to the predator. Only the victim can go to the predator. But if they're saying they have the right to follow what they believe in because they're human, we're not God over them, we can only tell them something. If they don't agree, that's their right, blah, blah, blah. They're not going to use the fact that we agree with that to then make it seem like we can't save people from them. We can take people from them. You know, we can go to that country and forcefully get all those children and victims and females and males from them and ask them to come live with us. See, same thing. These people, we're asking them to come live with us. It's still honoring everybody's free will. But we're not going to honor the free will of a predator. We're going to go against them and say that's not your right to harm people. You just have free will, but it's not your right. We're going to stop them from connecting free will to, right, somehow something being good. It's subjective. Some things are good and some things are bad. Okay, but if they want to go around practicing something willfully to each other, these Muslims don't want to change. When the next leader of Islam comes back, which is the lead of the whole world, obviously, because Islam is the original religion of God Almighty. They're going to come for everybody, therefore, not just Muslims. But the Muslims are going to be the first people they come after to stop their immoralities because they're very extreme. And also because, they're obviously in God's religion. But they're going to be fair and go to everybody equally. I'm just saying you get the point. They're going to go to Muslims and be like, who among you wants to go to the righteous path? Who wants to follow me? Who wants to be like their prophet? You hypocrites who act like you love him. Okay, whoever wants to follow, that's who this person will take with them. They're going to go create good countries, good laws, good places. There's no force here. But then this leader hears that those Muslim females are being objectified and raped and abducted and now it's just like how a government that's doing the right thing, you would expect them to do. This person's going to wage war on that place and grab those people out of that situation. We have to protect hostages and victims. But when a Muslim female says she wants to be in this disgusting rape situation, consensual rape, with one male, and there's 3 other females with her, they're raping each other, disgusting, nastiest, that's when we don't have any way to go to their country forcefully and stop them. That's like homosexuality. It's filth, it's perversion, it's rape, but it's consensual rape. We cannot stop you. We're just going to increase the amount of calling we do, the amount of logic, the amount of prayer, which then proves we're righteous. It proves we're the correct ones because that's how loving we are. Even though you're filth as hell, we pray for you to get out of it. Instead of saying, okay, bye. We have so much love for you that we don't want your body to be dishonored. Even though you're the one doing that to yourself. What the hell? I care about you. I'm going to pray for you 1,000,000,000 times until you come out of it. Whoever cannot come out of it, there's nothing we can do. That's how God's leaders will come down to help. It's not black and white. You see how I explained every single situation, how God deals with sin. Some sin is between him and the human. Some sin, it's not even sin, they're lying, it's not a sin. Something, right, they call sin is actually not a lie. Ugh. Some things they call sin is actually not a sin, it's a lie to call it a sin. Some things are actually called a sin is a sin, but it's between God and that person. And he's not even going to judge them in this life for it because it's one of those things he'll wait in the next time. Or he might do it here. You don't know. And some things he'll... You get me? And you already can see how God would treat that situation. He would inspire the human not to commit that sin. Give them wisdom, understanding, whatever you would think he would do to their mind and feeling and heart. He'll change their perspective so they don't have to keep doing abortion as females in situations God would say, you know, is not moral to do so, which I just told you doesn't even exist. Females are human. We're a species. We come out of each other. Therefore, we technically don't hate children. Goodness is normal. So no one would do it from that place. Get it? That's immoral. People have reasons that are healthy and rational. Therefore, they're moral. If someone is being maybe too unhealthy, right? We're human. If someone's doing it from an unhealthy place, but if we were to inspire them in more wisdom, they would perceive, we didn't force them, we didn't manipulate their thinking. They would personally agree with us that they obviously don't mind going through this. They just had sort of something. Maybe they were afraid of being poor or something. See, that's not an immoral thing from them, right? They're not coming from a place of wanting to do it to honor their body, their rights, their individuality. She has a right to be a mother when she wants to. If it's not this year, no, she can get rid of it because God cannot force you to do something. That's evil, obviously. We're talking about a situation where her fear of the pregnancy is something we can alleviate for her as a human. She's poor as hell. But see, the person doesn't want to do it. So that's what I'm saying. When the human doesn't have a moral reason to do it, and they want to do something, they have like environmental or situational fear. They're afraid of something. If we could alleviate their fear, even if we're doing it, God is using us, we're still Him, helping them. The human in those situations where it's not from their human right, their moral right to do things when they want to, and right, it's not about that. You're always going to see when they want to do things from that perspective that is situational or alleviated, you're going to see she doesn't mind, or that human in another context, if it's not about a female, they don't mind doing that situation. That human doesn't mind praying to God in a situation where they're lazy to pray to Him, because it's not about immorality. You know? If they just had something, then they would do it. Okay, so then what does that mean? They want to. She would love to have this, guy that she's dating, this beautiful baby that is about to be born from them. She would love to be a mother and be happy, but she's scared of money or something. Okay. So is it actually someone who wants to do abortion? No. She doesn't hate it. So did we force her? No. We just simply alleviated the situation she's scared of, and she already wanted to do it. She just thought, don't do it because there's an obstacle. So even when God is inspiring you to do something you didn't want to do, it doesn't mean He then forced you. Correct? Or manipulated you, or scared the hell out of you, or changed your brain, brainwashed you. No, He's just alleviating a situation. But the human actually didn't mind obeying that from God. Anyway, they were already okay with it. That's what it means. So then, okay, He didn't take away their free will. But in situations where she's a human, just like you, the male, she has the right to use her body and enjoy her body the way she wants to as a human, and grow and have a career and have a life and be a mother when she wants to and when she's comfortable. Obviously, it's a dangerous operation. No God is going to come to her and say, in this situation, just push yourself for my sake. No. That's her human right to not go through that dangerous situation, uncomfortable and annoying situation. But when the person is in a situation where God naturally designed them to be a mother, well, then they're going to be happy with it. And now you don't have to convince her. She's already happy with it because it's moral. It came out in a moral situation. You're not going to call her a mother when some filth entered her from a rapist. That's not, how dare you? In the future, when you find out who I am, you're going to understand exactly why I have divine missions and I'm a woman. Exactly. Because you keep coming after my gender.